Hi guys, this is Crossy of Eclipse Gaming TV and welcome to part 1 of the much awaited series Gillingham, A Boyhood Dream on FM2015. And a little introduction to this, yes, I've been talking about it for months on end that I was going to do a Gillingham series. Main reason for doing this is I've been a Boyhood Gillingham fan from the age of 6 or 7. They're my local team or localish league team. Sort of less than half an hour and I'm there, and from the age of 6 I'd bundled up in about 27 layers of coats, jackets, hats, scarves, etc. by my mum, and my dad took me to football, and we went up to Priestfield. And for anyone that knows it, the stand that is now the Medway stand used to be an old wooden stand, and we were in Division 3 at the time, and I went up pretty much every week for a little while. I have held a Gillingham season ticket in the past as well, so it's a club that I've got a huge affinity for. And as much as I try not to admit I'm a Gillingham fan and sort of adopted Everton as my Premiership team, if I'm really pushed on it, Gillingham are my main team that I support, if you like. And also, apologies if I don't quite sound like my normal self. I had a bit of a large one last night with some of the people from work, and even though I'm not hungover, I am very, very tired, so don't expect miracles from this. But I wanted to get the video out because the release of Football Manager 2015 was a couple of days ago, and I want to try and get the momentum rolling on this a little bit. Don't want to leave it sitting around for too long, so that's the main reason. And yes, of course, like anything, we do want to be as successful as we possibly can be, but also I'm not going to take this quite as... I don't want to say seriously, because I will be taking it seriously, but I'm not going to be quite so worried about the results. Something that I noticed when I went up to Gillingham, when we were in the Championship in particular, when I was going pretty much every week with my dad and we had season tickets, is even though we weren't the best team or had the best players, we had a lot of characters in the team, people that you could really get behind, and even though they might have an absolute shocker at times, you still have an affection for them, and that sort of made it worthwhile itself. You could go up and you can enjoy the football, even though you might not come away with the result that you want. And if you're going to stand in the cold for an hour and a half, hour round trip each, to go there and back, you do need some of that. And it was great. And one of my favourite footballers of all time, Mamadi Sidibe, was with Gillingham during that time. He was a big man, sort of 6'3", 6'4", Malian. Played for Stoke for quite a long time. Actually, he got snapped up by Tony Pulis. And whenever he had a shot, on the rare occasions that he would shoot, he would pretty much end up knocking the corner flag over. But he was big and gangly. You couldn't get the ball off him. He's like Peter Crouch, like Bambi on ice, but really good with the ball at his feet. And he would win virtually every single header you pump up to him. He would have 3-4 defenders on him at some points, and that made things a little bit difficult, and I felt kind of sorry for him in the end. If I was a strike partner playing alongside him, I'd stand next to him and wait for him to win a knockdown, because he would win pretty much every single one, and he's probably one of my favourite footballers of all time because of that. Not necessarily because of his bags of ability, but just he was one of those characters that I really sort of got an affinity for. So my plan is to try and build that and just have a really enjoyable series and people that we can get behind and sort of want to cheer for. And as you can see, you might be asking, why is Emile Heskey the background? Well, one, finding Gillingham wallpapers is a little more difficult than I would have liked. I wanted to get this video up fairly quickly, so I haven't spent ages hunting around or making one, but that does reveal who one of our signings happens to be. Yes, I have snapped up Emile Heskey for Gillingham for this season, which is going to be interesting, and I think is already a sign that we are poking a bit of fun at this. He's not someone that I particularly rated in his prime, and just seemed to fall over whenever the ball came anywhere near him, regardless of whether he actually got pushed or not. So yeah, bit of a comedy signing, and he's earning like $2,500 a week with us or something. So hopefully we do start to see a bit of output from Big Emile. So what I'll do is, just before we go into the first game against MK Dons, which I'm not feeling too confident about, to be completely honest, I'll give you a run through of the team that we are going to be rolling with this season. So we've got on loan Stephen Bywater from Millwall. I'll show you the reports for these players. So 3-star, but he is behind Stuart Nelson, who's going to be our first choice goalkeeper. I would say he's at his level. A good, solid League One goalkeeper. 4-star ability, leading player for most Sky Bet League One sides. I think he was a bit of a steal getting him in at League Two. Bit of a drop in standard, but yeah, we do have him. We have got Gavin Hoyt. The fairly versatile player across the back, mostly going to be used as a right back, I would say, in rotation with Matt Fish. Possesses great pace and acceleration, which is very useful and versatile as well. Pretty much level with Matt Fish, and they both bring along a similar kind of ability, if you like. Very good going forward, great at beating players, maybe a little bit weak on the defensive front, we shall see, but he's got potential to develop another 1.5 in theory. Something that we have noticed, of course, star ratings don't mean a whole lot, especially down in the lower leagues. So, and also it's in comparison to the rest of the playing squad, not necessarily down to how they would compare and compete in the league. So, just a few things to bear in mind. Lewis Carey, one of the players I brought in, 37-year-old, very experienced defender, good heading and tackling ratings as you'd expect, and 18 leadership. Good to have someone that's got bags of experience and leadership ability in that back four, so he's probably going to play quite a lot of games. I'll show you the report. So pace is an issue, but down in the sort of lower echelons you can get away with that to a point, and a decent player for most Sky Bet League One, so not going to set the world alight. Can play right back as well. Other centre-backs that we've got, probably too many I would say. We've got Courtney Hauser on loan from Wolves, the 19-year-old. Again, decent tackling, marking and heading stats, as you would pretty much expect. He's up there as being one of the, all the centre-backs we've got are pretty much on a level, to be honest. Decent player at this level. A lot of potential to develop as well, which is good. And also competing with him, we're going to have John Egan, the Irishman, 21-year-old, who has got a fair amount of pace. So him alongside Lewis Carey to kind of balance out the lack of pace that he has might be a good combination. Think John Terry, Gary Cahill at Chelsea, but at a much poorer level. And again, really good potential for him to develop. I did skip one player, Leon Legg, who I'll show you, the 29-year-old. Again, heading and marking where you would want it to be, and half decent pace stats as well. As you can see here, good player for most Sky Bet League 2 sides, so probably not going to stand up to the level going forward, but he's probably going to be the backup. Callum Davies, what have we got in terms of his development? Leading player for Vanarama Conference sides, so he's probably 2 divisions too high at the moment, and then it's whether I keep him on under that or just offload. What I would have loved to have done is completely rebuild this side, but as often happens with Football Manager, you are stuck with the summer signings that the managers do make, so you are very much inheriting their side. So no chance to, not as much chance to strengthen as I would have liked, let's put it that way. Matt Fish, ex-Dover player, someone that I'm a huge fan of. Unfortunately was injured and missed quite a lot of the last season. But very pacey, loves to beat people, bit of a liability at the back. Pretty much one game, the last game that I saw him playing, he was mustered down the right wing, bombing forward, beating the fullback left, right and centre, but he was getting skinned by the wide players up the other end every single time, pretty much. So he's got his weaknesses. Not what I like in a fullback, actually. From a personal preference, if I was picking fullbacks, my number one priority is that they can defend well. And if they can get forward and give me an injection of pace or whip in a half-decent cross, then fantastic, I will take that, but not something that I really feel is important. And we've got 2 right backs in a similar mould there, so who knows. We've got a very versatile player who is in real life the club captain, Doug Loft. Tends not to get stuck in. As far as attacking midfielder, centre, very good rating there, which is probably going to be his main position, but can play across the back at left back or central midfield. Again, got good ability. In the other areas though, I mean midfield for example, there are better options in this side, so he's not going to get too much of a run out anywhere other than attacking midfield, I don't think. And let's have a quick glance at his history and see where he's come from. So Brighton and Port Vale has pretty much been floating around League 1, League 2, which is fine, over 200 appearances. So it could be useful. Joe Martin, a player I'm a huge fan of at left back, got good corner and crossing ability, so a decent creative force, and again half decent defensive stats as well, which I like, and a bit of pace, but nothing to set the world alight. But he is pretty much our only choice at left back, and one I'm very happy with. Can also play left midfield. Josh Pritchard. Now, I think this lad... No, I take it back. So, came in from Fulham. I'm pretty sure, actually, for Gillingham, he's on loan rather than a signing in real life when they picked him up. Passing 12, so a bit of creative force. Tackling, yeah, rest in anticipation. So, I say he's a ball-winning midfielder as his sort of number one role, if you like. I'm not sure his stats really do point towards that, because I would have liked to have seen the tackling stat up a little bit higher than it is, and he seems to be a little more creative, although Flair down at 6, actually I'll take that back to a point. Be an interesting one, but I think we might end up using him more in the defensive midfield type role. Let's have a look at his report really quickly. So good player, pretty much level with our best 2 midfielders. In defensive midfield, yet second choice between Linganzi, who I'll show you in a second. Jake Hessenthaler, son of Andy Hessenthaler, seen him play once or twice and very impressed with him. Seems composed. He's got time on the ball, which is quite rare at this kind of level. Players very rarely get that. You know, you say the Premiership is a different class, and it is to a point, but if you put a Premiership team in, let's say, League 1 or the Championship, then those players will not have anywhere near the amount of time that you would get in the Premier League, because teams close you down so quickly. So a player that can show that they've got time on the ball is a real asset. It's something that Jack Payne, who was at Gillingham a few seasons ago and that we let go in the end, and I think we got a bit of money for him in a transfer, was one of those players where he just had so much time, and it was brilliant, and I was gutted when we let him leave the club. Aaron Linganzi is one of those players. He's probably, stats-wise, etc., I mean, he's got good heading stats, marking, passing, tackling. So he's probably the most versatile we've got in the midfield. Can play central or defensive. Probably the best we've got in either position, you could argue. From the impression I got, I haven't actually seen many Gillingham games recently, but my impression is that he hasn't delivered at quite the level you would expect from him, and has been a little bit disappointing in that regard. Bradley Dack came in through the youth team, the 20-year-old. Good long shots, good passing, good technique, and crossing is half decent as well. Flair 10, and vision as well. So a good creative force in the central midfield, and I get the impression that he's got the potential to develop. But this is an interesting one. Dread's playing in big matches. That's not a great quality, I don't think, but hey, who knows? Maybe he just has to sit out a few of those, and we'll use some rotation options. Jermaine McGlashan, dribbling 12 and has got very good pace numbers, which is interesting. I took one look at him and thought, no, I'm not sure how much I'm actually going to get to use McGlashan, but looking at those pace numbers, I am quite tempted. But as you can see, a good player for most Sky Bet League 2 sides, and not going to develop that fast. So how much football he actually gets for us, I don't know. Would be a very good option to have off the bench just to inject that bit of pace when we've got some tired legs. Antonio German is another one of those players that I don't think has actually performed quite as well as you would have liked. Again, got pace, half decent heading stats, but not a whole lot that really jumps out and excites you. Just a well-rounded kind of player. And then leading player for most Vanarama Conference side, so a work in progress, they are saying. A little bit of a swing from FM2014, where they pretty much had him down as being a good squad player, I think. And sort of quite active in the first team. Brennan Dickinson, let's have a look at this lad. Again, nothing hugely exciting in the numbers apart from his pace. Again, someone I can throw in to inject a bit of pace. Decent player for Sky Bet League 2 and can play on the left or the right or at the top up front. So a bit of versatility there. Emile Heskey, I'll show you his stats. So very good mental stats. Physical pace, well, non-existent, but it's kind of what you're expecting. Strength 16, teamwork and vision, very high, decent leadership. As we can see here, 15, 16s in the mix. Heading is good, first touch is good, finishing is not bad, and passing and marking. So we could see quite a lot of action going through Emile Heskey. Decent as a target man, and false 9. Also not bad as an advanced forward. So we will use him in more of a support kind of role, because we do also have, going to skip a couple of players here and come back to them, Cody Mack. 14 finishing, 12 dribbling, decent heading as well. As good a header as Emile Heskey is actually, with some pace. Ex-Coventry player. First time he came to Gillingham in his opening spell, I didn't actually rate him all that much, and I was quite surprised. But a lot of people around the club and a lot of fans felt a little more kindly towards him than I did to begin with. And in his second spell, he has been phenomenal. I would say one of the top strikers in the division in League 2. Probably at too low a level there, to be honest. But leading player for most Sky Bet League 1 sides, yeah, that is pretty much his level. 4 stars alongside Emile Heskey. So we've got our starting 2. Built a great partnership with Adebayo Akinfenwa, Beast Mode, who unfortunately was let go in the pre-season. And the reason for that is he wanted a 2-year contract. And we'd only give him the 1 year. Nothing about money or anything. He wanted to stay. They just wouldn't give him a 2-year contract because they thought he was getting on a bit. But I know we had a bit of time when Danny Kedwell was banging in goals left, right and centre. But when the goals started to dry up, Akinfenwa got his chance. Him and McDonald built such a formidable partnership that I'm so surprised they didn't break it up. And you see in Akinfenwa, the kind of physical shape he's in, he's still going to be able to play some serious football in 2 years' time at this level. It baffles me, and I will show you him in a minute. Charlie Webster, 18-year-old, good one for the future, scope to develop, but conference player at the moment. And then Luke Norris, the 21-year-old, good player for most Sky Bet League 2 sides. So if we get an injury to either one of these two, we're probably going to have to play one up top and go 5 in the midfield, simply because we've got midfield options. We haven't got options up front, unfortunately. And I'll just show you also in the transfer history the players that we've let go. So Josh Hare, Aaron Morris and Danny Kedwell. Pretty much needed to free up room in the wages to bring players in, so Kedwell had to duck out. There's no point having someone floating around on half decent money when you know that they're not going to get that much football. So that was a decision that I had to make there. But as you can see, I've only managed to bring in 2 players and get rid of 3. Would have liked to have done more of a rebuild job, but we'll have to just rock with what we've got. And then also, while we're here, transfer centre. So we are actually a bit over on the wage budget. I'm going to have to try and do something about that, but we'll deal with that for another part when I'm a little less tired. Right, so what we're going to roll with here is the sort of narrow diamond formation in the midfield that I went with when I was at Dover, that worked out quite well for us in the lower levels. So we've got Loft in the attacking midfield role, Heskey and McDonald up front, as you would expect. Linganzi and Dak are going to take the midfield. Josh Pritchard is going to sit in front of the two centre-backs. And we've got Martin Hauser, Carey and Hoyt across the back. And Nelson is going to be in goal. I'm going to check the pace for Courtney Hauser, and yeah, that is good enough. So we need to cover the slower Carey here. And then on the bench, we've got Hessenthaler, got Egan. Luke Norris is going to be our option up front, as is Brennan Dickinson if we want to inject pace. And Leon Legg as another defensive cover. Yeah, and the only player that is maybe omitted that could be useful to us is Matt Fish, but we're not going to be offering anything actually, I think I'll put him instead of Leon Legg. We don't really need two centre-backs, just in case there is an injury to Hoyt. Right, so let's get to it. MK Dons, so one that you think we might struggle with. Anything that I can do as far as ratings? So fullback, yeah, we don't want these guys getting forward too much. They're on a more defensive role. Are these more comfortable as limited defenders? No, they are about the same. Yeah, so they're all fairly comfortable in the roles they're in. So Dak's more a creative player, so we'll throw him in as an advanced playmaker. And then Linganzi, ball-winning midfielder, so he can do the more defensive role in there for us. So we've got defence and attack, which I like. And then deep line forward and advance forward. Yeah, okay. Let's go with it. See what we can do here. Lewis Carey prefers number 6, but that's taken, so we'll give him number 15 shirt. And let's do this. First game, first run out for this Gillingham side. Our aim this season is to avoid relegation. Now you could suggest that that would be achievable. Start showing some of these attacking players onto their weaker feet. And let's leave it at that. Give the lads a bit of a G up. First game of the season. Not a whole lot we can say. Let's up the speed a little bit. Get it out, boy. Oh, wow. For anyone that's watched any of my FM2014 stuff, especially the Dover Athletic series, you'll know about my issues with defensive frailties. Like that. Seven minutes in, what an absolute shocker. Pritchard heading clear. Oh, wow. This isn't going to plan. 2-0 down, less than 10 minutes in. Again, ball across the box. Hoyt caught out. Needed to get tight to his man and didn't. Stuart Nelson comes out and manages to make the grab, which is nice. Tries to go route one. Get some team instructions on the go. And just try and retain possession for a bit. And pretty much any attack on our goal, and it's resulted in a goal. Ball behind Joe Martin, nowhere near. Hoyt again. Can't close that down quick enough. No one closing down quick enough. And Carey well in. Can't produce anything from it though. And they are all over us. Linganzi this time. Okay, let's get an attack. Let's get a shot on goal. Just one. Just one, please. Let's go forward, not back. Oh. Joe Martin with a shocker. Bodic going for his hat-trick. Cody McDonald pretty much on the edge of his own box. One for Heskey to run onto. Okay, we've got in that half, boys. Let's see what we can do. Not a lot by the looks of that. Right. So 4.3 rating there, Jesus. Get team ratings up. Carey, hoofing clear. Oh my. I get the feeling this could be a long season. And Dean Bunch completing his hat-trick. 6-0 so far. We just need a goal. Consolation. Like that. There we go. Dogloft goal on debut. I guess at this point while we're getting thumped, I'll give you a little bit of background. Something that I did learn from the Dover series is that I need to take more control over training, especially at the lower level, so I have done that. So I will be making adjustments to match preparation training, to individual training, and what is pretty cool as we slot in our second comeback is on, boys. Come on, we can do this. So McDonald, good bit of footwork, beats the fullback straight across. Joe Martin, easy as that. Right. Yeah, and what's also cool is that you can sort of take charge of training as it goes to 7-2. Wow. And you can assign yourself to various roles and training various things. So what I have done, taking that into account, because the quality and the number of staff that you can actually have, I've shifted my priority more towards the tracksuit manager, which gives me better training stats. So I can, you know, make sure that I'm giving some really good training sessions as the manager. And I think I'm focusing on attacking and shooting just offhand, but I'll have a look at that and show you that at another time. McDonald chance for Heskey to show what he can do, and it's a goal on debut for Emile Heskey. What a beast! Right, okay. Looks like a decent choice already. Yeah, he does. Look at this. Boom. Chance for Heskey to run onto it, showing his pace. Still showing his pace. Also, apparently the match engine's been improved for 2015. So the players look less robotic. I mean, from a personal preference, I think it actually looked better the way it was before. What I will do is, Heskey is suffering a bit, so I'll throw on Brennan Dickinson as an injection of pace. John Egan for Courtney Hauser, whose match rating is 3.7. I probably left it a little too late to take him off, I think. And then Jake Hessenthaler will give him a run out for Bradley Dack, who hasn't been quite as influential as I would have liked, as the 8th goal nearly went in. John Egan looking frustrated, probably thinking, why didn't you get me on sooner? That's what I'm asking myself now. Doug Loft taken down. Pritchard getting in the battle though, and comes away with it. That's exactly what I want from my defensive midfielder, to do the ugly stuff. Jake Hessenthaler wins it back again, and then gives the ball away again. Oh dear. And the sad thing is, we're actually not looking too bad now. We're looking like we're playing some half-decent football. Looking much more solid in the defence, he says, as Carey gets beaten, but good cover from Egan. Hessenthaler with a little nibble. And yet we've played some good stuff and we've scored 3 goals. It's just we've conceded 7, which is, well, you can't say much more than that from players that just haven't picked up their markers. So I think we need to put more time into our defensive positioning, which is what I'll work on in the team training. And, well, there's not a lot I can really say about how that's gone. But the players are fired up. It's always going to be a tough game against MK Dons. I didn't see us winning it. I didn't see us getting smacked by 4 goals, though, by the same token. So improvements do need to be made. But also, let's just hope that Heskey isn't out for too long. Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks. So that's fine. Emile Heskey makes his return to English football. Yeah, he did. And scored with it as well. So thank you very much for watching. I will try and get another video up for you in the next day or two on this for part 2. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, then we've got 3 or 4 Football Manager 2015 series planned. So subscribe to the channel. And if you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and a like. If you've got any suggestions early doors of how I can improve things here, then please let me know. I think we need all the help we can get, and it's not the first time I've said that about a Football Manager series, is it? Anyway, thanks for that, and catch you next time.